Alrighty, man. Alright, so this scary story is called. Hold on, my laptop. My sugar daddy asks me for weird favors. And it's a series, okay. Alright, so let's see how bad I can start my way through this, but it's definitely not gonna be scary because look at my fucking avatar, it's like, yeah! It's just like all happy and crap. But alright, so starting with the story, his Tinder profile said he was 45, but he looked to be in his early 30s at most. Looking for a sugar baby, $700 weekly, and no sex. It sounded too good to be true, but as a broke university student, I was willing to take my chances. I swiped right, and Tinder let me know it was a match. His message came a second later. Hey there, sweetheart. I cringed at the word. I hated it. But $700 was $700, so I sucked it up and replied, hey. You know, really good female voice on my end. His name was Jack. He told me he owned his own business, although he never specified what kind of business it was. We talked for a while before he asked me for my Venmo to send me the first payment. After a few minutes, I got a notification. I stared at the $700 for at least 20 minutes, expecting to wake up from a dream any second, but it wasn't a dream. You still there? I clicked on the message. Yeah, sorry. If you don't mind me asking, what are you looking for in return? I stared at the chat until he replied. I'm just looking for you to do a few favors for me. That sounded like it was going to be sexual to me. Like, what? For example, first thing I need you to do is pick up a delivery for me. That sounded innocent enough, but I was also expecting there to be some kind of twist. $700 to pick up a package? Like, come on, even I wasn't that naive. From the post office or something? No, oh shit, my voice. No, I'll send you the address, but right, not to do this through Tinder. You got Kick? Or you can give me your number. Sorry, I kinda broke right there. Fucking Kick. Kick. I used that shit back in fucking 7th grade. Kick. Okay. Oh, okay, well, here we go. Kick. What was this, 2011? I decided to give him my number instead, and he texted me the address immediately, followed by the address to his house where I'm about to drop off the package. I'm not home right now, but there's a key on the bottom of the blue flower pot near the door. Go inside and put the package on the coffee table in the living room. Make sure you lock the door when you go inside the house, and then lock it up again when you leave. I grabbed my car keys and wallet and got into my car, putting the address into Google Maps. Got it. On my way. My phone buzzed as I backed out my driveway. I'm serious. Lock the door both times, please. Wow, this guy is fucking... Okay. I thought that was a little excessive, but I promised him that I would. The house looked abandoned. It had a broken chain link fence around it. A small door that was hanging on to dear life. It stuck out like a sore thumb, surrounded by houses that were a lot nicer than this one in comparison. You here for jack shit? I looked up to see a man standing in the open doorway of the house. He took up almost the entire space, his head skimming the top of the doorframe. He was huge, in height and muscles, and his entire torso was covered in tattoos. Yeah, I guess, I replied, not moving from my spot on the sidewalk. Stay right there, he said. I did. I actually don't think I would have moved if you asked me to. I looked around and realized that there was no one else on the street. I was a 21-year-old woman alone in the street. I grabbed my car keys. A few moments later, the man came back out carrying a cardboard box. It was about the size of a shoebox, but stained and damped on some of the corners. Can you open your car? He asked. I opened my trunk, not wanting that inside of my car seats, and he set it in. Alright, there you go, he said. Thanks, I replied. I walked to the driver's side of the car and opened the door. Oh, and one more thing, he said. I looked at him. Watch out, he said. I didn't reply. I blasted my music as I drove to Jack's house, hoping it would drown out my anxiety. It didn't. I parked my car in the stone driveway and stayed inside the car, admiring the house. It was a huge house, with stone pillars on the front porch and greenest grass I've ever seen in my life. I turned the car off and got out. I grabbed my package and walked to the front door, getting the key from where it said it would be. I opened the door and I stepped in, closing it behind me. I thought about what he had said about locking the door when I got inside. I thought that was a little overboard, but as I stared at the closed door, something made me reach out and lock it. I walked inside, my feet cushioned by thick maroon carpet. I admired the inside of the house. All the furniture was wooden and looked incredibly expensive. I would probably finish school a dozen times with the money that it took to furnish this place. I set the package down on a coffee table as I walked back to the door. I heard a phone ringing from somewhere inside the house. I froze. In my pocket, my phone buzzed. I took out to look. Don't answer any calls that aren't for Marvin. What? Okay. I put my phone back and followed the sound of the phone, poking my head into a few different rooms before I found it in the office. I walked over to the desk and looked at the caller ID. Incoming call from Jack. That was odd. I grabbed my phone to look at the messages again. I was starting to get a little bit creeped out as I decided I wouldn't answer just to be safe, and I left the house, remembering to lock the door as I left. I done a few more favors for Jack since then. I drove a BMW to a random park in our city, only to get out and drive a different car back to Jack's house. He had me meet one of his employees at lunch who gave them a briefcase to deliver to the first house I had gone and told me he would know if I looked inside. On several occasions, he asked me to drive down to the same house and stay with a guy whose name was Julio for a certain amount of time. In total, I made around $3,500. Most recently, Jack asked me to stay in his house overnight. I woke up to a text message from him. I need you to spend the night at my house. I hadn't ever seen him in person, but I had talked to him on the phone a few times. He proceeded to tell me he will pay me $1,000 to spend the night at his house, provided that I followed a few rules. I drove to his house in the evening. The driveway was empty, and it normally was, but the porch light was on. I walked up, unlocked the door, went inside, and locked it again. Everything in the house looked the same. Okay, hold on. Everything in the house looked the same. Jack had told me over the phone that he would leave the list of rules on the dining room table. I set all my stuff down in the living room. My bags looked like garbage compared to the fancy furniture in there. I wandered into the kitchen, and to the dining room. Sure enough, there was a piece of paper on the wooden table, held down by empty glass. Alright, hold on. Yeah, sorry. I went to scroll down to see how long the story fucking was, and it's pretty fucking long. But hey, fuck it. Lock the door when you come in. Only answers calls from Marvin. Don't turn any faucets on between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Don't open the door for anyone, no matter who they say they are, after 10 p.m. If the door to the closet at the end of the hall is open, sleep in the library. If closed, sleep in any of the bedrooms. Garner comes at midnight. If he starts knocking on the windows, hide. Turn on the TV and let it play the static throughout the night. Do not forget to do this. Help yourself to anything in the fridge. I'll pay you in the morning. Good night. I made sure to follow all the rules. To be honest, I was regretting my decision, but seeing as I was already here and I was getting paid, I decided to stay anyway. I figured as long as I followed the rules, I'd be perfectly fine. Still, it felt a little odd. What was this, a haunted house? Nevertheless, I lounged around the house for a few hours as I was planning to go sleep around 9, since that's the time that all the rich shit would begin happening at 8:50. I brushed my teeth and using the faucet for the last time before 9. I checked the closet in the hallway, and upon seeing that it was open, I moved my stuff into the library, and I got ready to sleep on the couch. I locked the doors just in case, and laid on the couch scrolling through my phone. I hadn't gotten any more messages from Jack, and I started to think up scenarios and reasons why he had such a strict, peculiar set of rules in his house. I had dozed off at some point, because at exactly 10:16 p.m., I was woken up by the doorbell ringing. I was about to get up and check, but I remembered the rule. Don't open the door for anyone, no matter who they say they are, after 10 p.m. I stayed on the couch, trying not to move, paranoid that they would even hear the slightest sound. It's the police! Open up! I didn't move. Hello? Is this the police? Oh no, fuck. Shit, I read that wrong. Hello? It's the police! Open up, we're coming in! I still didn't move, but I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. There was a silence for a while after that. The doorbell rang again. Hey, it's Jack. Let me in. It sounded like Jack, but still, I didn't get up. He would have a key, wouldn't he? Why would he need me to let him in? This continued for almost a full hour. Different people will ring the doorbell, announce themselves, and then disappear when I didn't respond. I was finally able to fall asleep, and the gardener never came. When I woke up the next morning, I heard someone in the kitchen. I got up slowly and unlocked the door as quietly as possible, taking my phone with me and walking across the living room into the kitchen. I stopped at the entrance and peered in. It was Jack. He was standing in front of the stove, stirring something as a coffee machine brewed coffee in the counter behind him. Hey, good morning, he said when he saw me. Hi, I replied nervously. I hadn't seen him in person before, but he looked exactly like his pictures online. Scrambled eggs, he said, motioning to the pan with a wooden spoon. Yeah, thanks, I replied, walking over to take the plate from him. I ate my breakfast and then drank some coffee in silence. So, how was it? He asked. It was okay, nothing super freaky happened, I replied. Cool, he replied. There was an awkwardness in the room. I think I'm gonna go now. I have class. I trolled off. I didn't, but I really wanted to get out of there. Oh no! Yeah, sure, I'll talk to you some other time, he replied. I grabbed my stuff, and he walked me to my car. I could see him standing in the driveway staring at me as I left. When I got home, I packed all my stuff, and noticed I still had a list with me. I sat on my bed and read it again. I felt my body tensed up as I realized I had forgotten something. Turn the TV on, and let it play static throughout the night. Do not forget this. Turn on the TV and let it play on static through the night. Do not forget to do this. Do not forget to do this. I stared at the words on the page until they lost meaning. Beside me, my phone buzzed, snapping me back to reality. It was a $1,000 payment. I looked at my phone and then back to the list. Maybe it wasn't an important step. As I was thinking this over, a text from Jack came in. I'm not in town right now. I should be back next week, so you're freed from running any more errands for me until then. Just send the payment, go do something fun. I stared at the message and read it again, and again, and once more for good measure. I'm not in town right now. I thought back to this morning and how Jack was in his house, how he gave me breakfast. I'm not in town right now. Within minutes, a new text came in this time from a number I didn't recognize. Did you forget to do something? Winky face. The text was followed by a picture of Jack, or whoever this version of Jack was, standing in front of the TV. I didn't respond. Next came another picture, the one from outside of my house. It was followed by another text. Watch out. Wow, so, that's the end of part 1 of that. And also, hey Louise, welcome back to the stream. I know you probably tuned in late. I'm trying something new, with my stream, so I can actually move my hands, so, that's pretty cool. But I'm trying out something new. I thought about reading horror stories and stuff like that on stream would be kind of cool. So people can, pop in and stuff like that. Sorry if I didn't see your message. I wasn't annoying you or anything. I'm off tab into another page so I can read. But we'll go back to the stream. So yeah, that was part 1 of that story. I'm not sure if you guys want me to read part 2. Because honestly, it wasn't that ending though was really good though. I definitely didn't expect her to not turn on the TV, but honestly, that was really good. That was a really good twist. So for Louise, the long story short is the story was my sugar daddy asked me for weird favors, and it kind of sounds like an anime title. Like that, like, how to pick up girls in a dungeon or something. But yeah, so it was a girl who was in university. She needs money. Found a guy on Twitter who was like, hey, I'm on Tinder. It's like, hey, Yeah. Yeah, it sounds weird. It sounds like an anime title. But, yeah, so It was about a guy named Jack who, he's a weird fellow, you know, a weird little guy, little creepy little guy. He has all these rules and stuff like that. So the girl's in university, and you guys know if anything with college, you're probably broke. You go to college to make some money after. But yeah, she needed money, so he does all the stuff. She spends the night at his house after doing all of the errands. And she does everything perfect except for one task. Make sure to turn on the TV and let the static play throughout the night. She didn't do it, and in turn caused a evil version of the guy that was paying her to show up. And now, apparently by the ending of the story, the man is haunting her, or going to do something to her. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of part 1. I can read part 2, if anything, but that's kind of like the long story, too long, didn't read variation of it. And yeah, story is really weird, especially the title. But honestly, I feel like it's kind of like, if any other anime, like, would you watch an anime called Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai? Because you think there's only be bunny girls, right? But then you watch it, or either you watch it or read it, because there's a manga and a light novel. You know, it's a completely different story from the title. So it's just sitting there just like, huh. I guess you really can't judge the cover of the book, you know. The book of, I don't know, I forgot the saying went, but, you know. Don't judge a book by its cover. There we go. But yeah. Oh! Yeah, okay. So that's pretty much, the long story short. I can read part 2 if, yeah, no, fuck it, I'll read part 2. I'm gonna be on the stream for like another 3 hours, so might as well. Alright, going on to part 2. Oh, this has brought me to a porn site. What the hell? Nah, I'm joking. Okay. So we're at part 2 now. Yeah, alright. So this is part 2. My sugar daddy asked me for weird favors, part 2. Hold on, let me check if there's on part 3. Jesus Christ, this is longer. Oh, I think there is a part 3. God damn it. Alright, well, this is pretty long, but hey, I'm gonna be here for a little bit. Alright, so, part 2. I didn't leave my house for almost an entire week. The only reason I didn't stay indoors for longer is that I had an important exam in one of my classes that I absolutely had to be present for. That also didn't help with my anxiety I was feeling. As I drove to campus, I kept my eyes glued to my surroundings, almost running 2 stop signs and a red light. I kept expecting Jack, or, well, the fake Jack, I suppose, to pop out randomly on the side of the road, or in the car next to me, or in the car behind me. I constantly glanced at my rearview mirror, trying to figure out the black truck behind me had been there the whole time, or it was a different one that I'd seen 10 minutes ago. I hadn't told him where I went to school, so maybe he wouldn't know. Then again, I hadn't told him where I lived either, and he seemed to figure out that one rather quickly. I hadn't texted the old Jack since the incident had happened. I mean, I didn't even know what I was supposed to say. Oops, I didn't follow all your rules, and now there's a weird lookalike of you running around the city. My plan, as foolish as it was to act as if all was well. I wasn't going to stir the pot by telling him I had already fucked up, so instead I was going to wait until he realized that something was wrong. Hopefully he wouldn't. I will admit that not telling him was more difficult than I had thought, and I found myself constantly checking my phone for texts from Jack, but none appeared. I finished my exam that day, sure that I had failed due to my lack of focus, and drove back home where I had found Julio standing in my driveway. He was looking down at his phone. I attempted to keep driving down the street before he saw me, but I wasn't fast enough. He glanced and began walking towards my car as I slowly pulled into my driveway, locking my doors and trying to remain calm. Instead of shifting in the park, I kept my foot on the brake and shifted it into reverse, but fully ready in case I need to make a quick getaway. I sat in the driver's seat looking forward at the front door. I wondered for a second if I'll be able to get inside and lock the door before Julio got to me. Suddenly, he leaned down and knocked on the window, making me jump. I turned to look at him and he said nothing. Roll your window down, he said, motioning me to lower the window. Press the button for a split second, making only a tiny crack of open space. I can't read for shit, sorry about that. You know, it's not me you should be afraid of. I looked at him and glanced at my rearview mirrors, trying to see if any of my neighbors were outside, but they weren't, as I was alone. And I was alone with no witnesses. You fucked it up, he said, leaning against my car. I told you to watch out, and you didn't. You managed to fuck up the rules in one night. They always miss at least one. They? Asked, questioningly. I looked up at him but said nothing, but I honestly had no clue why. I had no clue what to say. Get out of the car. Fuck, I can't speak. I'm getting like a fucking Chicago accent. Get out of the car. We're going inside. He tapped his hand on the roof of my car and walked towards the front door. I thought about driving away, but I wasn't sure where I would go. And a part of me wanted to hear him out, so I found myself parking the car, turning off the engine and letting Julio into my house. He took a seat on my couch and glanced at my living room. This is fancy for a college student. You buy this with Jack's money? He asked. I rolled my eyes and I stood in front of him. Why did you want to come in? Alright, touchy subject, he says, shrugging. I need to talk to you about Jack. Which Jack? The one I've been talking to, or the one who appeared in the house? What? He snapped, leaning over, resting his elbows on his knee. What? What do you mean the one that appeared in the house? Jack isn't back yet. I came here to tell you that you forgot to lock the door after your little house sitting gig, which Jack wouldn't be pleased about. He's very particular about his stuff. He'd gotten rid of girls for much pettier shit than this. I said nothing and stared at Julio while he stared back, waiting for me to explain myself. His use of words gotten rid of made me nervous, and I wondered what he meant by that. Surely he wouldn't kill me over a mistake, right? Was there someone else in the house? He asked after a few seconds of silence. Jack was in the house that morning before I left. How do you suppose that happened? Because Jack hasn't came back from his trip yet. I shrugged, not really knowing what to say. Julio stood up, sighing in annoyance. Fine, you know what? I originally came here to ask you for a share of cash you got for your poor house-sitting job, but it seems that you're probably fucked up more than I originally thought. So, I'm going to stay out wherever this is. Good luck. He walked over to the house and opened my front door, waving to me as he left, leaving me standing in the empty house. I ran to the door and locked it as soon as he was gone, and started to freak out once again. I thought about what I was going to do if Jack came back from his trip and found out that I had messed up. What if Julio was right and someone had broken into the house and robbed him? Maybe I just thought I saw Jack, but maybe it was just some other stranger who looked like them. My mind was going a mile a minute as I tried to figure out what to do. Hold on, I'm gonna take a... God, how many parts are there? I have no idea. Give me a second, I need to get a drink real quick. Alright. Fuck, did I leave on? I think I left on here. I made the drive over in silence, trying to control my breathing so that I didn't have a meltdown on the highway. I finally pulled into the driveway and turned my engine off, but I couldn't work up the courage to get out of the car. I sat there for a few minutes, staring at the giant house. Oh, wait. Okay, wait, hold on. I skipped a part, my bad. I paced around my house for a few hours before I finally decided what... I can't speak! God damn! Okay, sorry about that. I paced around my house for a few hours before I finally decided that I was going to drive back to Jack's house to make sure that no one had broken into it. If they had, I would simply make an anonymous police report or something. Besides, the only way he would ever know that it was my fault would be if Julio snitched on me, which it didn't seem like he was planning on doing anymore. I made a drive over in silence, trying to control my breathing so that I wouldn't have a meltdown on the highway. I finally pulled into the driveway and turned my engine off, but I couldn't work up the courage to get out of my car. I sat there for a few minutes staring at the giant house, trying to force myself to unbuckle my seatbelt, open the door, and get out of the car. The house, which once looked impressive, now made me feel anxious and out of place. I couldn't stop myself from imagining all sorts of horrible scenarios that I could stumble upon once I opened the door. I thought about how many possible hiding places there were in a house that large. I don't know how long I sat there before I finally decided to get out of the car and walk towards the front door. I hesitated for a few seconds before taking a deep breath and pushing the door open. Only it didn't open because it was locked. I assumed that Julio had probably locked it and looked for the key on my keychain. I locked the door and stepped into the living room, taking a look around. Everything looked normal, though. There was no signs of breaking and entering or anything like that, and I was glad that Julio had come over and realized my mistake before someone else had. I closed the door behind me, this time double checking that I locked it, and began to make my way further into the house. I went into the library first, which looked the same as it had when I left. Next, I made my way through the living room, glancing around to see if anything was out of place, but nothing was. I was starting to feel better now that I confirmed that no one had broken in and ruined the place. That feeling was short-lived, however, when I walked into the kitchen. It was a complete mess. Both the fridge and freezer were wide open. All the containers of food were emptied out. There were empty boxes of frozen foods tossed inside the freezer and on the kitchen floor. There were a few trays of meat that were laying out on the table and counters, and some of the red juice from the meats had been spilled inside the fridge and now dripped onto the floor. I noticed that there hadn't been much food in there in the first place. It was all gone. As I got closer to the fridge, I realized that it wasn't cool, and the light inside the fridge wasn't working either. I assumed that whoever ate all the food also unplugged the fridge for some reason. I stepped over an empty carton of orange juice and an empty crate of eggs as I made my way towards the stove, and I fuck, I can't. I really need to change the background. Hold on. I stepped over an empty carton of orange juice and an empty crate of eggs as I made my way towards the stove, where I found stacks of unwashed pans. One of them was still hot, meaning that it was only recently taken off the burner. There were eggshells all over the counter, and I thought back to the morning when Jack, or whoever that was, made me eggs for breakfast. I walked back out of the kitchen, careful to not step on the mess that littered the floor, and made my way down the hallway. I spotted the door at the end of the hall, and this time it was closed. As I continued to walk down the hall, I couldn't help but notice how eerily quiet it was in the house. I couldn't even hear the sound of the heater running. As I passed the thermostat in the hallway, I saw that it wasn't working either. The screen was off, and there was nothing on, like it has been turned off or something. I leaned forward and pressed a few of the buttons, but none of them worked. I poked my head into the study, but that was also empty. Although I did see that the landline had been used recently, and whoever used it didn't put it back. The handheld part was hanging off the side of the desk, and I stepped in, grabbing the phone and holding it up to my ear. But there was only silence. I put it back and followed the cord of my eyes. It was connected to the wall, but it seemed like there was no power in the house, which explained the refrigerator and the thermostat. I walked out of the study and headed down to the hall again, but I froze my tracks when I noticed the door at the end of the hall was open now. Someone was in the house. I reached into my back pocket and grabbed my phone, checking to see if I had maybe missed a text from Jack, but I had no signal inside the house. I held my phone in my hand anyway, hoping I'd pick up enough signal to call for help, and began to back away from the door, listening carefully for any footsteps or noises that could let me know where the intruder was. As I spun around, I found myself face to face with Jack, or whoever it was that I was looking at. I knew he was the same man that I had seen that morning, but I had no idea who he really was. "Sorry," I said, startled. "Which one are you?" he asked, squinting at me. He was dressed in a stained gray t-shirt and old pajama bottoms that looked like they had been purchased from 30 years ago. "What?" I asked. "You're the new one, right? The one from the other day. You're one that forgot to turn fuck. You are the one who forgot to turn the television on." "Yeah, I'm so sorry. I thought I was being careful. I didn't mean to." I stopped talking and he started laughing. "Sorry?" he asked, grinning. "I should be thanking you." "Who are you?" I asked him. I stared at his face and he looked exactly like Jack, but I couldn't figure out why he was there. why he was here when he said he was still on his trip. "I'm Jack," he replied, as he was stating the obvious. But Jack said he wouldn't be back for a few days. His expression changed and he narrowed his eyes at me. "Did he tell you when he would be back, the exact date?" I shook my head, confused, thinking about how I was going to get past the man and get out the damn house. "But you can ask him, right?" I don't know. He hasn't contacted me in a few days." "Damn it, I was hoping it wouldn't be that bad." "Can you explain to me what the hell is going on here?" I asked him. "You shouldn't have come back here." Something felt off to me, and chills shook my entire body. Part of me regretted not going with my original plan, acting like everything was okay. I didn't want to stay in the house any longer, and there wasn't really nothing that I could do anyway. Besides, I was getting a bad feeling from this guy claiming to be Jack. I slowly stepped past him, glancing back behind me as I continued to walk to the living room and towards the front door. I found myself walking faster and faster until I was basically running and throwing myself at the front door. I couldn't help but shake the feeling that something bad was going to happen if I stayed in the house any longer. I unlocked the door, but just as I was about to open it, I heard the lock slide back into place, only it sounded a lot louder than usual. I jiggled the doorknob and realized that the doorknob wasn't locked. Something else was and was keeping me from opening the door. I began to freak out as I pulled the door urgently, trying to get it to open, but something was keeping it shut. "What the fuck?" I said out loud. Sorry for the little jump scare. I glanced towards the hall and I heard another noise, but I quickly realized that it was the sound of air flowing through the vents. It seemed like the power was back on and somehow some sort of security system had activated at the same time. I looked down at my phone and not only did I have signal now, but I also had 3 messages from Jack. "I'm back. What happened? I know you're in the house." I looked around the room trying to find them or any security cameras in the room that would be alerting him to my presence in the house. I didn't see any and grabbed my phone and texted him back. "Are you here?" I held my phone in my hands as I made my way towards back to the hallway to find the other Jack that I had seen earlier. If he even was another Jack, maybe this was all the same person. He was just messing with me for some reason. A part of me thought that perhaps I deserved all of this for not doing all of this in the first place. I mean, why was I so quick to agree to run random errands for a random man that I have never met? Sure, I needed the money, but going into a stranger's house gotta be on the list of top 10 dumbest things you could ever do. Especially considering the fact that no one knew where I was. I didn't even have a weapon to defend myself if I needed to. I stood in front of the closed doorway for a second, making my way over to a window. I tried to open it, but the security system had locked the windows shut as well. I thought about breaking the window opening and I grabbed a sturdy looking vase. I took a few steps back and threw it at the window as hard as I could. The vase shattered as it made contact with the window glass, but the window was fine, unscratched. The only way I was getting out was through the door, but first I had to disarm the security system somehow. I walked back to where I had left Jack, but he was gone and nowhere to be found. "Jack!" I called, my voice echoing throughout the house. The door at the end of the hallway was closed once again. I began to walk towards it, peeking into each room as I passed, but there was no one else in the house. As I reached the door, my phone buzzed in my hand. "You were supposed to follow the rules." I stood in front of the door, trying to work up the courage to open it and see what was in the room. "I know. I'm sorry. I came back to make sure everything was okay." I reached out and grabbed the doorknob, taking deep breaths. The buzzing in my hand startled me, and I ignored it as I turned the doorknob and pulled the door open. I stood in the threshold. At the top of the wooden staircase, below it was a badly lit basement. I slowly walked down the stairs, glancing at my phone. "You should have stayed away. You're really going to regret this." I didn't reply. I kept walking until I was at the bottom of the stairs, which I wasn't sure that I was expecting. It was a normal-looking basement apartment that I stumbled into. I found Jack sitting on a couch against one of the walls. He was reading a magazine and glanced up when he heard me step off the stairs. "What are you doing?" He shot to his feet and shouted at me. "The door locked. I can't get out," I replied. "You are so fucking stupid," he exclaimed, walking over to me. That's rude. How am I supposed to know the doors were locked and the power came back on? You weren't supposed to come back, he shouted, and his face turned to an angry shade of red as he yelled. I wanted to make sure everything was fine, I replied. Who cares? You got $1,000 for house sitting. Why didn't you take it and leave? Why are you so angry? Why are you even here? You're clearly not Jack, I snapped, annoyed. How do you know? He asked in a calmer tone. Oh, well, fuck. How do you know? He asked in a calmer tone. What? How do you know I'm not Jack? I look like the pictures you've seen, don't I? Yeah, but Jack is on vacation, I replied. How do you know? He repeated. What are you even talking about? Have you ever met Jack in person? Have you ever talked to him on the phone, video call, anything other than a text message every few days? I didn't reply, staring at him. He was right. He did look exactly like the photos I've seen on Tinder profile. That's what I thought. What are you saying exactly? I asked as I heard my phone buzz once again. How do you know when the person you've been talking to is a real person? As a matter of fact, how do you even know that it's not me? Maybe this was my plan all along to lure you here. At that point, it finally hit me. He was right. I didn't know if I was talking to a real person. All that I was doing random favors for someone with an internet profile who wanted to pay me money to do all these things for some reason. I guess I always felt that there was something off about a sugar daddy who was willing to pay someone to do things other than having sex with them. But I needed the money too badly to spend too much time questioning it. I was feeling even more scared now, and my palms were cold and sweaty as I stood there, waiting for him to do something. I could run back upstairs, but I didn't think I was fast enough to get out there and find something to jam the door and keep him upstairs and keep him downstairs. I took a shaky, deep breath as I tried my hardest to make it seem like I was scared. If Jack was dangerous, I didn't want to worry him of my plans and try to run. After a few seconds of silence, I glanced down my phone to read the most recent text, but there were no new notifications. That wasn't your phone, Jack said, breaking the silence. I looked up at him as he glanced at my phone sitting on a nearby table. Suddenly, he jumped towards me and I attempted to jump out of the way, but I was too slow. I saw Jack grab my arms and my phone fell out of my hand. Fell out of my hands. And then everything went black. When I came to, I was on the living room couch and Jack was standing above me looking down. What happened? I asked. I attempted to sit up, but I noticed that I was incredibly dizzy. And my left arm felt sore when I tried to prop myself up. I remember Jack grabbing me earlier, and I figured that he had grabbed my arms too tight and I must have been bruised in the process. You're finally up. Good, he said. I slowly managed to sit up and wincing as I put weight on my left arm. I looked at Jack, who was now standing a few feet away with a bandage wrapped around my right bicep. What happened? I asked, looking at the bandage, noticing there was blood seeping through. You really shouldn't have come back. I tried to shift my position on the couch and winced in pain as I put my weight on my left arm again. I turned to look at it, trying to see if I've injured it somehow. I noticed it was also wrapped in a bandage similar to Jack's. What happened? I repeated, looking down my arm. I slowly reached over and started to unwrap my bandages until it came off, and I was staring at crudely done stitches on the inside of my bicep. What the fuck is this? I snapped, looking at Jack. Sorry, Ivy, but you really shouldn't have come back. Although I'm kinda glad you did. I didn't really want to do this, but I need to get out of here. He began to back away from me, heading towards the front door. I watched as he easily opened it and wondered how he disabled the lock if he has been the one to activate it in the first place. He stepped out of the door and turned back to look at me. Good luck. I helped you out a bit while you were out, he said, motioning towards my phone, which he had set down on the couch next to me. I stood up and went after him, surprised when he didn't run or back up, or simply stood about a foot away from me, away from the front door watching me. As I attempted to step outside, a stabbing pain erupted in my left arm, traveling throughout the rest of my body until I felt like I was being stabbed everywhere at once. I fell to the floor crying out in pain. Once I was back in the house, the pain went away, and I laid on the floor shaking in the aftermath as I stared up at Jack. What did you do to me? I asked. I had to get out. It's been 8 months. I'm sorry, you were the first one to come back this time. I'm sure you're a good person, but I'm sorry, I can't be here. You're just gonna leave me here? I shouted. Julio will come by to give you food. And, by the way, don't try to cut that thing off your arm. This place is covered in cameras. If you do anything suspicious, Julio will see you. and he won't hesitate to stop you. I learned the hard way. I didn't know what to say, and I stood there in shock as I watched Jack walk over to my car and get in it, starting the engine and disappearing down the street. I finally shut the front door and locked it, turned back to face the empty house. I glanced at my phone, which was still on the couch, and remembered what Jack said before he left. I walked over, trying not to move my arm too much as I picked it up and turned it on. My Tinder profile was open. Only has been changed from now my profile bio read, looking for a sugar baby, $700 weekly, no sex. On the table next to it, there was a list of house sitting rules similar to the ones that I found on the day that I've been here. At the bottom of the page, there was a lime green sticky note that read, "Sorry, I hope you're able to get out soon. Don't worry, maybe you won't be here for long. They almost always forget the rules. Good luck. Jack. X." Okay. Well, I'm not too sure how many of you are still here, but that was the end of part 2. And woo-wee. That was definitely something. Yeah, honestly, I could probably see that Louise and Had they both left. Ugh. Sorry about that. Well, that was what do I say? A little spooky story. Definitely a unique one. I think there's a part 3 because the X was kind of. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. It leads into a different subreddit. But yeah. So, that was looking for a sugar daddy or sugar baby, whatever the fuck. Story that was. I give it a solid 8 out of 10. But yeah, I don't know how many people are still here. Probably not. I feel like Luis and Had are both gone. But yeah, that part kind of took a little while to read. But yeah, it was done. Alright. Well, that part is done. I'm probably just gonna take a little bit of time and not not read any more stories and just vibe out and hang out here for a little bit. But yeah, honestly, out of everything, I definitely don't think that was a bad story at all. I actually really enjoyed that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed too. Okay, what else can I talk about? Yeah, I really don't have any. I could probably do like one more horror story. I kind of want to do something kind of like small. Oh, okay, that one might be good. Oh, that one's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely, I'll probably just stay on just chatting stream for a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why it's so hard. I don't know why it's so hard for me to read stuff. I don't know. Definitely. I'm sorry if I like go back a lot. Like I don't know how to do this. Like I don't know how to like exactly. I think I can like do like my motion. Okay, so like I'll be reading this, right? But my brain's already over here. Like I'll try to have like my voice to like read this, like new construction, gymnasium, Frontier Island. Let's like keep it going. Also, my dog is freaking out. But yeah, so just like I'll just like try to like keep like to keep on reading. Hello, quiet. You. But yeah. But yeah. I'm unsure how many more people are here, but yeah. Oh, where the fuck did where did it go? I had like the sweet spot right there. The fuck? Yep. See, there you go. Give me my shit back. But yeah. So it was nice having a little bit of viewers for a little bit. But yeah. Yeah, definitely doing horror stories. Like it's like a hit or miss. I'll definitely do like one more story before I go, and then I don't know, I'll probably just play Fortnite or some shit. Find something else to do. Yeah, no, maybe I'll do I'll probably start out with just chatting, then I'll like slowly fucking go to like different games. Who knows? Unless people are still here. I'm not too sure if people are still here. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to find a short horror story that I can read. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, I really don't want to read all the stories because, you know, some of the stories I kind of want to keep for later. Maria on the Moon. Oh yeah, this one's kind of short. Oh. Okay, that's not short. Hell no, that's not short. That's not short one bit. Ooh. Okay, how long is this one? Okay. This one isn't that long, but alright. Yeah, okay. So, this story is called My Dead Girlfriend Keeps Messaging Me on Facebook. I got the screenshots and I don't know what to do. Tonight's kind of catalyst for this post. I just received another message and it's worse than any of the others. My girlfriend died on the 7th of August 2012. She was involved in a 3-car collision driving home from work when someone ran a red light, and she passed away within minutes on the scene. We have been dating for 5 years at that point. She wasn't big on the idea of marriage. It felt archaic. She said it gave her just a weird vibe. But if she had been, I would have married her within 3 months of our relationship. She was vibrant and the kind of girl that would choose dare every time. She was the happiest when camping, but a total technophile too. She always smelled like cinnamon. That being said, she wasn't perfect. She always said something along the lines of, if I cark it first, don't just say good things about me. I never liked that. If you don't pay me out, you're doing me a disservice. I got so many flaws, and that's just a part of me. So, this is for M. The music she said she liked and the music she actually liked were very different. Her idea of affection was a side hug. She had really long toes, like a chimpanzee. I know that's tangential, but I don't feel right discussing her without you having an idea what she was like. On to the meat. M has been dead for approaching about 13 months now. And when she first messaged me, So September 4th, 2013, this is when it began. I had left Emily's Facebook account activated so I could send her the occasional message, post it on her wall, go through her albums. It felt too final and too un-Emily to memorialize it. I share access with her mother, Susan, meaning her mother has her login and password and has spent a total approximately 3 minutes on the website, or on a computer total. After a little confusion, I assumed it was her. November 16th, 2013. I have received confirmation from Susan that she hasn't logged into M's Facebook since the week of her death. Emily knew a lot of people, so I just assumed that this was one of her more tech-savvy friends fucking with me in the worst possible way. I noticed pretty much immediately that whoever was chatting with me was cycling old messages from Emily and my shared chat history. The wheels on the bus comment was from when we were discussing songs to play on a road trip. That never eventuated. Hello happened a million times. Around February 2014, Emily started tagging herself in my photos. I would get notifications for them, but the tag would generally always be removed by the time I got to it. The first time that I actually caught one, it felt someone had punched me in the gut. She would tag herself in spaces where it was like plausible for her to be, or she would usually hang out. I got screenshots of two from April and June. These are the ones that I caught, so they're a little out of timeline trying to write out. And there's 2 images here. I'm gonna that isn't creepy at all. And that also isn't creepy at all. Around this period of time, I stopped being able to sleep. I was too angry to sleep. She would tag herself in random photos every couple of weeks. The friends who noticed and said something thought it was a fucked up bug. I found out recently that there have been friends who have noticed and didn't say anything. Some of them have removed me from their Facebook friends list. At this point, some of you may be wondering why I didn't just kill my Facebook profile. I wish I had. I did for a little while. On days when I can't get out of there, though, it's nice having friends available to chat. It's also nice visiting Emily's page when the little green circle isn't next to her name. I was already socially reclusive when Emily was alive, and her death turned me into something pretty close to a hermit. And Facebook and massive multiplayer online games are my only real social outlets. On March 15th, I sent what I assumed was Emily's hackers a message. And then on March 25th, I received an answer. It wasn't until I was going over these logs a few months later that I noticed she was recycling my own words as well. My responses seemed kind of lackluster here. I was intentionally providing her with emotional bait. This was actually devastating. To keep them interested in their game, I was working off the assumption that the kind of person to do this would be the kind of person that would thrive on the stress of others. I was posting in tech forums for ways to track this person and contacting Facebook. I needed to keep them around so I can gather more evidence. Before anyone asked, yes, I had changed the password and all security info countless of times. Then, on April 16th, I received this. This seems like word salad, like all of our conversations so far, recycled previous messages and she sent. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I haven't been clicking on the post, but so the messages between the two is, why are you doing this? We should make our own jam. Joking, JFC Samantha. Not different, no chance of passing, no chance of passing. How many? Garage side door, side eye, no chance of passing. Okay, so majority of, as previously stated, the conversations are being recycled between the two. So most of the messages that Emily sends to the OP or the boyfriend or boyfriend of the story is literally just recycled conversation. So it could be like, I welcome to stream, yo, stuff like that. So he is right. It's like word salad. It's just repeating. Then on the 29th of April, I hadn't discovered any leads. Facebook had told me the locations of her page had been accessed from, but since her death, they're all places that I can count for: my home, my work, her mother's house, etc. My response to her wasn't bait. Yo, ask Nathan was an in joke too. Lame. It's kind of lame. Explaining it, but seeing her say it again just absolutely fucking crippled me. My reaction in real life was much less prettier. I'm not expecting my bond back. Her last few messages have started to scare me, but I wouldn't admit it at this point. Well, let me read the last one. Baked beans on toast. I don't know. I just said, yo, ask Nathan. Nathan. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how you are still doing this. Please stop. I don't know what's happening, Nathan. I don't know what's happening. So, on the 8th of May, I don't really have any words for this. Freezing. It's freezing, but it's spelled F-R-E space E-Z-I-N space G. It's the first original word she made. This has given me nightmares that have only started to kick in recently. I kept dreaming that she's in an ice-cold car, frozen blue and gray. I'm standing outside in the warmth, screaming at her to open the door. She doesn't realize I'm there. Sometimes her legs are outside with me. Let's see what she sent. -12, -15. My jumper's in the dryer and it's really cold out. Cold. Nathan, please stop. Cold. Freezing. I don't know what's happening. So on the 24th of May, I wasn't actually drunk. She wasn't an affectionate girl, and it always embarrassed her to exchange I love you cuddles, talk about I love yous. Oh. It always embarrassed her to exchange I love you cuddles, talk about how much we meant to each other. She was much more comfortable with it when I was boozed up. I got fake drunk a lot. Her replies were prompted to me to finally memorize her page. Thinking it might help curb this behavior, it might seem incongruous compared to her previous message. It pasted from an old conversation where I was trying to convince her to let me drive her home from her friends. In the collision, the dashboard had crushed her. She was severed in a diagonal line from her right hip midway down to her left thigh. One of her legs was found tucked under the back seat. Let's see what she sent. I'm really drunk. I miss you. Whoever's on this account, I don't give a fuck. I keep coming home from work and expecting to see you at the computer. Shouldn't I be used to that by now? UST, let me walk. Oh, just let me walk, okay. Going back in time to the 7th of August 2012. And these are the logs at the day she died. These are logs from the day she died. She was usually home from work by 4:30. This, alongside a couple of voicemail messages, is the last time I talked to her under the assumption that she was alive. You'll see why I'm showing you these soon. And whereabouts? Gray at somewhere? Hey, you on your way home, Emily? When you see this message, please ring me straight away. I rang blank and it said you left at 4. I'm starting to panic. I feel sick in my stomach. Please ring me. Emily, answer your phone. And then this happened yesterday, on the 1st of July, 2014. I memorialized her page. A couple of days after I received the message about walking until today, she's been quiet. She wasn't even tagging herself in my photos. I don't know what to do anymore. Do I kill her memorial page? What if it is her? I want to puke. I don't know what's happening. I just heard a Facebook alert, and I'm too afraid to swap windows and check it. And it ends. And it ends like that. I don't know if we know if he killed her page, but this was posted by user / Nate NATESW, and this was 9 years ago. Honestly, I really, even though that story was kind of short, I definitely did enjoy that story a lot. Something being so simple yet kind of heart-wrenching, especially with like a dead loved one, kind of gets me in a way. But yeah, I know it's probably fake, but you know, I don't know, it was a good story. Okay, well, I'm probably gonna clip this and put this to YouTube, so let me do a hi YouTube. Hope my reading wasn't that bad, but I definitely do enjoy reading these stories, so if you like to, you know, I definitely do enjoy reading these stories, so yeah, leave a like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Alright, so, I know when to clip it now. Oh, what happened? Oh, I just finished up reading a story. It was a different story. It was about a guy's dead girlfriend who keeps messaging him after she died. It was a pretty sad fucking story. It was more on the emotional side, I like to say, compared to, you know, the last one was kind of like metaphysical to a degree, kind of like the shock twist. I can go over the spark notes. So it follows a guy named Nathan. His girlfriend died from a 3-car pileup on the 7th of August 2012. And over the past 2 years, I believe, since she died, her Facebook page keeps on messaging him with phrases from their past conversation. And Nathan is a introverted person, and after, you know, Emily, which is his girlfriend's death, he became more of a hermit. So every day he comes home from work expecting to see his girlfriend, then on his phone, her account on Facebook is already messaging him about phrases. And one of the phrases was, help me, Nathan. I'm freezing. Help me, Nathan, please. And for him, you know, losing a loved one, especially because they've been dating for 5 years at that point, if he loses, that, like, you know, the memories of what happened to her, like, it torments him. And it brought him to the point where, like, should I kill her page and see if that's ending her suffering? Because I don't know how it works. I don't know if ghosts can really go online, but that's kinda gist of it. If you're still here, I don't know if you left, but yeah. Okay. Well, but I give that story a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It was simple and clean, sad, but I enjoyed it. 9 out of 10. No, honestly, 10 out of 10 though. Yeah, you guys can see it though, but it has like Imager like links to it too, so that definitely deserves a upvote. I like that. Ooh. I can read one more. Yeah, okay. I'll read one more. Post the video. Switch over to Fortnite, play that for a little bit, then go to Call of Duty for today. I do want to get a couple of games in. Okay. Um, I do want to find a short one though. Huh, that one's kind of unique. Okay, that's kind of a long one. Definitely not against reading long ones though. Oh shit. Okay, I need to read this one. It's kind of like okay. Alright, well, so I'm reading this one next. It's called I work security at Disney World. Well, I mean I did. Okay, well, the title is I work security at Disney World. Well, I mean I did. Let me get a drink before I start the story because I ain't trying to you know. Alrighty. I work in security at Disney World, the happiest place on earth. Typically, I wouldn't say where I work as obviously there are some pretty strict rules about things employees can put online, but I just don't think I can tell this properly without the context, and honestly, I think this may be it for me anyway with this job. I just can't see myself working here any longer. I've been with this company for 23 years. The first 20 years I worked in the parks, nabbing shoplifters and rounding up people who are drinking too much for the heat. Occasionally there'd be a fight to break up, but people usually kept it pretty mild. The heat and walking was getting too much for me the last few years, so I asked to be transferred somewhere with AC, and a company moved me to one of their resorts. While working conditions were 110% better as far as climate and comfort goes, the guest issues were trickier, mainly domestics. I guess the expensive and stressful vacation got to a lot of people, and I'd be called by neighboring rooms because some mom and dad were yelling at each other. I tried to suggest they take a nap or go do separate activities for a bit, and that will usually calm them down. But none of that is why I'm here for. I got to get this out while I have time. 3 days ago, I got a call from management. Apparently, a couple of days before that, housekeeping had went to a room that should have been turned over that day. Turnover is when the one guest leaves about around 9:11, around 11 a.m. and the next guest checks in around 3 p.m. And all the guest items were still in the room. Housekeeping made a note of it and moved on, but during the next 2 days when they entered the room, everything was still there and untouched. I went to check it out, and sure enough that there was an empty room full of luggage, clothes, snacks, and some toys. Everything a family would need for a vacation. The manager had already looked up the previous reservation, and it was for a family. A dad, mom, and 2 little kids. I tried to call the phone number they had given, but all I got was a voicemail. We were a bit stumped, so I made the call the housekeeper could clean the room and take the family's personal items to be held until we got in contact with someone. I went digging into the reservation more. The family had arrived 5 days before housekeeping discovered all their stuff. I found that the family had paid for a parking fee and the vehicle description was listed. A quick walk of the parking lots and I had easily located the vehicle, so that ruled out a car accident or them deciding to leave all their stuff behind. Next, I saw that they bought a dining plan. This is when a guest prepays for all their food. They're given a certain number of credits to use for meals. The family had only used 3 credits, and the last one was 2 days after they checked in. It appeared that the day they arrived, they got here late and probably just stayed at the resort. The next 2 days, they used 2 credits at Epcot. The second park day, they just used one crate at the Magic Kingdom, and it was breakfast time. Now, at Disney, we have something called Magic Bands. Magic Bands are worn by guests, and they act as a room key, park ticket, credit card, dining reservation payment, fast pass, a system used to bypass lines, and more. It took some work, but I was finally able to look up the family's fast pass history. The day they went to the Magic Kingdom, they had breakfast at a restaurant in the park. They rode a couple of rides, and then rode the last ride. It was a small road about 11 a.m., then nothing. Finally, it was time to bring in someone else on this. I called an old coworker at Magic Kingdom and asked them to pull security footage for It's Small World. At the time, they wrote it, and I made my way over there. When I got there, my friend was very confused, almost distraught looking. He showed me what he had found. There's usually a camera in the direction of when the rides load and unload. The footage showed them scanning the bands to use a fast pass for the ride and boarding the ride. The footage from the exit and the ride just showed other people in the car exiting, and they weren't there. Of course, we thought the worst. Maybe one of the kids had fallen out, and the mom and dad and another kid got off in the middle of the ride to help, and they all got injured or killed or stuck in machinery somewhere. So we shut down the ride middle of the damn day. Turn off that ear-warm music and turn up the lights. Me and my buddy walked around the ride 3 times before we called in help. Eventually, there was close to like 10 cast members searching. We didn't find shit except for 3 cell phones and a hat. I was right stumped. I kept digging, and the past couple of days, I'm not sure who to tell what I found next to. I called police, and I suppose they're on their way, but the company has a way of covering up things like this, and I decided I can't live with myself. And I don't know, if I don't put out some type of warning. Okay. I kept digging into a reservation over the last couple of days, and today I noticed they had purchased a memory maker. These are photographers all over the parks and cameras and lots of the... Wait, what? Oh, there are photographers all over the parks and cameras in a lot of the rides, and with a memory maker, the photos are all free. They will automatically get added to the guest Disney account, and when the system knows the picture has been taken, and the system always knows when everyone's whereabouts are always known with the magic bands. Man, I don't know why, just seeing all this text like make my eyes fucking like fuck up. I think I need glasses. Sorry about that. Not part of the story, but I think I'm dying, boys. Well, I opened up the Memory Maker photo album, and I swear there's 732 pictures. The first 30 or so are pretty normal. Epcot, a few rides, in front of the castle, but the rest are all in It's a Small World. The ride only take 1 picture per go around, so it appears as though this family has ridden this ride over 700 times. The first picture was pretty normal. Everyone looked happy. It was a busy day and a full car of guests. Next one is rough to look at. The car is empty except for this little family, and they look so darn confused. Next 10 to 15, I can see the dad getting angry, yelling. Mom is holding onto those 2 kids like her life depends on it. And you can see the kids getting increasingly upset and crying. And it goes on and on and on. After 50 or so, it looks like they're trying to get out. In one, the dad is missing, and another are all gone. Maybe like they bailed early in the ride and tried to walk out, but in the very next one, they're all right back in that damn car. After around 450 or so, I only see the mom and kids. It's just when I look closely, I can see dad. Maybe it's just his body now, slumped over in one of the other seats. Since about 675, there's just mom and 1 kid. Another body in another seat. The mom and kid aren't moving anymore. I think them 2 are still alive, just damn near catatonic, looking straight ahead, pale. And y'all, I swear on my fucking life, the dolls are moving or something. In some of the pictures, I can tell that they aren't where they should be. I even saw one of the doll in the cart. I even saw one with a doll in the car with this family. I can't look anymore. I'm going to lose my lunch. I closed the album. Its file size increased since I closed it. God, are the new pictures being added? I see on the security cameras that the local PD just arrived, so it'll take over soon. I wish I knew what the fuck is going on, but I also wish this damn thing had never landed in my lap. I don't think I'll be able to update this. After I talk to police, I don't think I'm going to walk out here and never come back. I just wanted to get this out here. Before Disney feeds the media some bullshit cover up as to why the whole family vanished. They didn't vanish. I know where they are. Okay. Well, you know, you guys know about me. I do enjoy, I do enjoy reading about Disney horror stories because, like, you know, the happiest place on earth, and then, you know, shit like this happen. I know this is fake, but, you know, just part of me do enjoy kind of talking shit about Disney to a degree. So, yeah, that was honestly a really good story. I don't know, just my inability to read at times kind of sucks, but, yeah, hopefully you guys kind of enjoyed that. So yeah, I'm gonna end this clip here for now, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone.